Hey guys, welcome to Paleo 060. We're at day 7 here. So I've been kind of putting this post off because it's a big question, and that is, what is paleo? We've had a lot of people asking, could you give us just sort of a general overview of what it is? So here's my best attempt. There's also lots of other information. If you just search in Google for what is paleo, check out Rob Wolf's site, check out Kurt Harris's explanation of Paleo 2.0. You'll get some really good information there. So, the paleo diet, Paleolithic is what paleo is short for, and that was the period of time pre-agriculture for human evolution. So what we're doing with the paleo diet is in some ways emulating what we would have evolved to eat genetically. So for millions of years we ate the similar foods as hunter-gatherers, and then 10,000 years ago or so we discovered agriculture, which allowed us to do some great things like create civilizations, but also had some detrimental health effects. So by looking at the differences between how people lived, ate, and died then versus now, we can make some interesting conclusions about how we should be eating to function optimally as humans. So one way to define what we're eating is exclusionary, and I'm borrowing this from Rob Wolf. So you can say, what don't we eat? It's grains, legumes, and dairy. Typically, some people do okay with some of those, but it's best when you're in the beginning stages like we are here to cut those out and then add them back in one at a time and sort of see what bothers you or what doesn't bother you. Another thing to cut out or to be careful about is omega-6 fatty acids, which is going to be things like vegetable oils, like canola oil. We typically eat a lot more of that than we would have historically. And the other way to define it is inclusionary, talking about what do you eat. And that's meat, veggies, some saturated oils, as well as oils that aren't high in omega-6, like olive oil. And then, but the question, why does any of this make sense? So, like I said before, we're using sort of the evolutionary standpoint to inform what we're eating now. What we're actually doing, though, we're not trying to emulate a hunter-gatherer society. That would be very difficult. It would be possible. It might be kind of fun for a little while. But it'd be very difficult. So what we're trying to do is use the differences to inform hypotheses about what could make us feel better and live longer, healthier lives. So when we notice grains are something that's new, so we can say, we can't conclude that that necessarily is bad because it's new. Neolithic does not necessarily equate to bad. But we can say that that could be a problematic factor. It's a large change in how we're eating that could be causing a number of problems like heart disease, obesity, diabetes, etc. So we use the paleo sort of paradigm in order to inform hypotheses that we can then use science to test, and we can also use people like ourselves to say, okay, well, let me try something that's different than what is Neolithic. Let me try the Paleolithic approach and see if I feel better. And if you do feel better, well, then you have, it's not a good experiment because it's only one person, but you know personally, and everyone, when you're looking at diets, needs to figure out what works for them personally. So you can say that for me seems to work better. And then we can extrapolate that out and do larger actual studies where we have 50 people eating a certain diet or eating a certain way, cutting out a certain problematic factor in their diet, and go from there. And it just turns out that the paleo approach seems to work for a lot of people very well. Anything to add?
Really just that the thing we're thinking about in general is the time scales of cultural development, such as these newer foods, versus genetic development, which happens over a much, much longer time scale. So the idea is that we really haven't had our genetics change almost at all during the period from the Paleolithic to now, and that our foods have changed dramatically as our cultures have changed, and we started doing agriculture and living in cities and manufacturing foods that are full of a lot of sugars and carbohydrates, simple carbohydrates and things, and that may be a problem, that there may be a real conflict there.
Yep, definitely. All right, guys, I hope that answers some of your questions. If not, go ahead and send us a comment. Feel free also to like our video, subscribe to our channel, or check out our blog, paleo060.com. For more podcasts from us, and feel free to comment and ask questions because we love your questions. Thanks.